God of War is one of those games that really gets me going no matter what. Something about just splitting heads with nothing but pure testosterone and love for the fight really brightens up my mood. And I have never actually posted a video on this channel about the God of War games. But if you want to watch those platinums, here they are. Anyways, the fellas at God of War Studios released a brand new DLC called Valhalla for Ragnarok a little while ago, and I was gonna make a video about it right away. However, I couldn't beat it, and I got very sad and self-conscious about my skill level in fighting games. But I came back a few days ago to make a video about using fist only on it for my second channel, and I actually somehow did it. I have no idea how, and I was also at 0 HP when I won, which is just insane. So yeah, you can watch that video in a few days, but anyways, today I'm going to be getting every single trophy inside of God of War Valhalla. You know, just so I can keep up with that perfect 100% on the game. There's a total of 12 trophies for this DLC, and the amount of playthroughs is utterly insane, especially if you die over and over like me, since I am not the greatest skull smasher around. Anyways, the DLC begins with you and Mimir, who probably gives insane head, just rolling around in your boat towards the shores of essentially Valhalla. Anyways, this place was completely empty and looks just like the amount of woman I have in my life, but we obviously ran into the only door here and just entered it because with that many muscles, Kratos can't possibly have many brain cells left. Anyways, once entering, you get encountered with 2 enemies, and this is the beginning of how this DLC works. Essentially, each time you go through a door, you get put into a different type of arena, and you just simply have to defeat all of the enemies there. Also, it gets progressively harder as you move on, and once you win, you can usually open 1 or more chests, getting upgrades for this run. And also, none of these save once you either win the whole thing or die. So that is definitely the most annoying part of this all, and quite a challenge. There is also some areas that are just open and have loot that you can use special keys to unlock later. This loot isn't really anything special, however, and is almost as disappointing as your father's pullout game. But I went through a new door after exploring for no reason at all, and was immediately met with a big, strong man who grabbed me and did what he wanted with my soul. So I died, but it's okay because this is actually supposed to happen because the game needs to get a story going, and they do this with Freya and her gender-questioning team behind her. I honestly don't think I've seen such odd-looking folks since my last day of high school. But anyways, Freya just tells us that we have to explore within ourselves to get through Valhalla, and this is sort of the plot for the whole DLC. Kratos is in therapy. Poor guy, honestly, he just needs a new girl, but that's just my take. Anyways, we got the first trophy of the DLC, and then you get to begin the real game. Also, these girls think they can sing, but just because you're depressed like Billie Eilish doesn't mean you can sing songs good. Anyways, the first few rounds of these arena fights are super simple and easy, which is almost annoying after a while because you pretty much know you're not gonna die here. Yet it still takes like 10 minutes to get through these dumb things. Anyways, I ended up unlocking the path forward and interacted with this very important looking spire and then got teleported to a throne room. Now, I have never played the older God of War games, so I don't really know what this room was, but I guess it brings Kratos a lot of PTSD, much like my dating life. And he had a brain aneurysm. Happens to even the strongest of us. So we teleported back to the shore like usual once the mind is defeated, and I changed my appearance while here, which gave me a trophy. I don't know why this is a trophy, but it is. Okay, back into the fights again, and we progressed through all of the easy ones. Well, you know, easily of course, until we ran into the first Valhalla's chosen slain of the day. These aren't really boss fights per se, but they are much stronger enemies than the typical peasants that we are used to stomping over. And you also have to kill a certain number of these overall to progress further into the game, as we will see later. But I took this dude out fairly easily and won't be getting any head after this fight, as you can see. Right after this though, we got placed into an actual boss fight with some guy named Fisk. I thought we took him out in the Spider-Man game. I guess he is multi-universal. That's what I'm saying. This dude wasn't very annoying, to be honest, because he was kind of slow like a fat girl, but he did look like the Grim Reaper, which was a bit intimidating. And we defeated his ass because nothing can stop the succulent swiftness of Kratos' axe and blades. We then made it to the final area of the DLC, which is just this giant, arena filled with enemies everywhere. However, it took us on a journey into the mine before any more fighting can happen, and we went back to Sparta. They also introduced me to a new rage power-up, and you can just get a massive sword, which does incredible damage and just makes me feel good inside overall. But at the end of this memory, we'll call it, Kratos is trying to get rid of Helios, who is an old op of his from a previous game. But at the last second, Mimir changes back and Kratos has a moment of complete and utter panic. Thankfully, the entire place just got destroyed, so everything is fine. Also, one of those weird girls saved us, and I guess Mimir has unspoken riz on Sigrun because she loves him and stuff. Must be nice. Oh yeah, we got a trophy after that. Alright, next round goes the same as the others because this game loves repetition. Honestly, this might be challenging my mind more than Kratos's because I don't think I can play this anymore with how boring this type of fighting is. Like, sure, these boss fights are great, but I absolutely despise the first 30 minutes of each playthrough. Anyways, this round's boss fight was with the Dreki, which is this extremely annoying creature that has some BS attacks, and I low-key almost went back to the shore immediately. Thankfully, I clutched it out and we made it to the big boy final area. This time, we didn't go on another mind trip and got to do what I was trying to explain previously. You have to kill 3 chosen slains to unlock the boss fight here, and this is done by running around and interacting with those glowing orb things. So yeah, once you dive into one, a ton of enemies come out and you just gotta kill them all. But once you get 3 done, you can of course enter the boss fight area. However, we got a mind trip this time, so that's sad. No big boy action. And we ended up in the same cremation chamber as last time, but Kratos isn't an idiot, and instead of sacrificing his head friend, he just did it to himself. Hashtag mental awareness. But that was the right choice and he overcame his fear. Therapist all around are getting a round of applause right now. And we teleport to the boss area I was talking about. The final boss of each round here is also Tyr, by the way, which is kind of cool. And since this is the first fight with him, it wasn't difficult at all and I managed to take out the homie with ease. But since we are friends, it just ends in a peaceful chat. Kratos also tried to continue into Valhalla, but he isn't ready yet because this DLC needs more length and had another brain aneurysm ending back in the shore. With another trophy pop. Okay, so I'm not gonna go through the early stages of these rounds anymore since it's boring.
That's what I'm saying.
But we made it to the final area and interacted with this glowing object, which apparently had some sort of importance because when I interacted with it, I got a trophy, so that's cool. However, it's way more cool to be a subscriber of Its Ilusion, so make sure to drop a like and subscribe right now so we can pass Mr. Beast. Okay, so now it's 4 total chosen slain because as we all know, it gets harder the longer you go. Yeah, and also this difficulty bar increases the longer you were here, and for some reason I wasn't paying attention to my count and did way too many, which ended up with me having a very high difficulty, and I hit my wall of progress, dying to some random bitch. So now I get to redo that entire round again. God, this DLC is just great. Okay, this time it didn't go over and just enter the portal like you're supposed to do, and we ended up back fighting Tyr again. However, he got harder and has a new weapon this time, I think. But still, this isn't nearly as hard as it could be, and we beat his meat once more. Kratos then has to deal with his emotions again, and since he is a man, that's impossible. But this time, Tyr was there to help us, and he did this by just showing Kratos all the bad things he has done, which was too much for his brain to handle once more. Not gonna lie, this can't be good for his health. I don't know what the hell kind of Western therapy this is. Next round on the journey back to torture, though, we did end up fighting one of Thor's kids again, and since they got fat genetics in the family, I teased him with a donut and was able to win the fight with ease. In the final area, it upped to 5 kills this time, and once I got that, I again headed back to have fun times with the homie. And honestly, I beat him again pretty much the same as last time. We even got to see the exact same cutscene, which I thought was kind of weird, and Kratos' brain broke once more. So, next round we made it to the final area, and this time a statue was chilling here, so I grabbed it because stealing is always fun, and we got a trophy for wielding the forbidden fleshlight. Now it got up to 6 slaying kills before Tyr's fight this time, which I'm pretty sure is the peak if I can remember correctly. And this is actually the final fight with Tyr. But the Tyr boss fight reached its peak difficulty now, and you can tell this because his health is purple, which means he is strong. And by strong, I mean he literally tickled my nuts immediately and I died without hardly making an indent into him. And on the next run, I was almost there, but I ended up failing to a chosen slain again, so that's even more depressing than dying to Tyr. This failure was somewhat beneficial, however, because I did die so many times that I ended up visiting every single realm in Valhalla, which was a trophy. So we made it back to Tyr like 40 minutes later, and I did better this fight. I didn't do good if you're wondering, but he was like half HP before I got hit fatally, and then rage quit the game for a few weeks. And as I said, I came back a few days ago to do the fist-only video for my second channel, which will be posted in a few days, and I did end up winning this fight. I actually have no clue how I did it so easily with fist only. Like, I got it first try. My only theory is that I just grew bigger nuts in the amount of time I was gone. Either that or they just made it easier. I have no clue. But we got the final story trophy of the DLC. Thank the Lord. We do have a few trophies left, as you can see, however. And the cleanup, it really isn't bad at all. First, you just have to play through it all again, and this time you can enter a new arena to fight in the Forum, as they call it. I also didn't know these were a thing when playing it for the first time. But apparently there is like separate wave fights you could do in between the chosen slaying kills. So that would have been nice to know. But this Forum boss fight's name was Hardrithil the Callous. and I might have just butchered his name, but he definitely just butchered me in the fight. This dude low-key hard, I won't lie. But thankfully, you don't gotta beat him for the trophy and it pops. I then just kept on playing, trying to do some mastery challenges since those are needed for the only real grind trophy of the game. And on one of my runs, I managed to find the boat key 3 times, which was another trophy. I then really went for it with those chosen slaying kills because if you combine the secret wave rounds with the normal orbs, you can fight a ton at a pretty low difficulty. And I ended up getting like 11 killed, which amassed me to a massive amount of fleeting echoes, and I had well over 15,000, which was a trophy called Easy Come, Easy Go. Now at first I thought it was talking about my ex-girlfriend's sexual history, but then I realized that it's just a Bruno Mars song.
Easy come, easy go. Oh my god!
And yeah, then the final trophy was of course the 9 mastery challenges. And I managed to do it finally, with my final one being collecting some hilts for the axe actually. So I ended up just letting the enemies kill me so I could head back to the shore and collect it to be done. And there is that glorious 100% return to the game. Overall, the DLC is pretty cool. And if you're a big God of War fan, I can see how the endless aspect of it is appealing, but personally, it's not really my type of game. And I would have rather spent the 12 hours I did on this DLC just banging your mom instead.